They said she was just the girl who served coffee. A quiet presence in a uniform too plain to be noticed. A smile too gentle to be threatening. A voice too soft to belong to anyone dangerous. Every morning she moved through the naval strategy room like a shadow, refilling cups, wiping tables, and disappearing before anyone remembered to thank her. But that morning, the Admiral stepped through the door, scanning the room filled with decorated officers. His eyes stopped, frozen, on her. The girl with the coffee pot. His lips parted, and what came out next made every soldier present stop breathing. Call sign, Night Sparrow. The pot slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. Every head turned, every eye widened. No one blinked. Because Night Sparrow was not just a call sign. It was a legend. A ghost. A myth whispered across bases like a warning. And she, this soft-spoken girl, was suddenly the most dangerous person in the room. The girl they never looked at, Elena Vale, had spent 6 months working in the Naval Command Center cafe. Her job was simple: serve coffee. Stay silent. Stay invisible. Even the junior officers rarely looked at her. To them she was just part of the background, like the hum of old fluorescent lights or the smell of old paper. But every night, when she lay on her small bunk, she whispered the same words. One day, they'll know who I really am. She remembered the fire. She remembered the darkness. She remembered the mission that had gone horribly wrong, the day she walked away from the world she once belonged to. Night Sparrow, the youngest operative to complete the Phantom training program, an intelligence ghost who operated in the shadows, until a betrayal left her team shattered. She never returned. No one knew why. She believed she'd buried that identity forever. Until the Admiral arrived the day everything changed. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning. Elena moved around the long conference table as officers discussed mission routes and satellite data. She kept her head low, pouring coffee for each of them. No one noticed her until one of the new lieutenants knocked over his cup. "Sorry, miss," he muttered. She smiled politely and bent to clean it up. That's when the room's door swung open. Admiral Rowan Hale, stern jaw, decorated uniform, and the kind of presence that makes the room straighten itself, stepped inside. Everyone stood, except Elena. She froze mid-motion, still kneeling on the floor, sponge in hand. The Admiral's eyes locked onto her like he'd seen a ghost. "Elena," he whispered, breath leaving him. Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs. Nobody had used her real name in months. The officers glanced between them, confused. But the Admiral wasn't finished. He stepped forward, voice shaking with disbelief. "Call sign Night Sparrow." A gasps caroused around the room. A pen dropped. A chair squeaked. Someone whispered, "Impossible." Elena closed her eyes. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, the decision. "Sir, there must be a mistake." Lieutenant Carter muttered. She just works in the cafeteria." But the Admiral didn't look away. Elena Vale was once the highest, ranked covert operative in the Phantom Wing. He declared to the room, "You're looking at the only person who survived Operation Zero Dawn." A murmur rippled across the table, some shocked, some suspicious, some suddenly afraid. Elena finally stood, hands trembling, heart breaking open in her chest. "Why now?" she whispered. "Why bring this back?" The Admiral approached her slowly. "Elena, we found the man who betrayed your team." Her breath stopped. He resurfaced. And he has something dangerous, something only Night Sparrow can retrieve. She swallowed hard. "I'm not that person anymore." "You may have forgotten her," he said softly, "but the world still needs her." Elena's eyes lifted. Half the room watched her with awe, the other half with doubt. But one thing was clear. Her past had just walked back into the room and demanded answers. Becoming Night Sparrow again, for the first time in 6 months, Elena didn't return to the cafeteria. She walked beside the Admiral down a sterile hallway leading to the restricted wing. Security scanners flickered as she passed, still calibrated to recognize her DNA from years ago. The doors unlocked automatically. The officers guarding them exchanged startled looks. "Welcome back, Mum," one whispered. She offered a trembling nod. Inside was a room she thought she'd never enter again. Her old suit hung inside a sealed locker, matte black, lightweight, engineered for silence. Beside it lay her utility gloves, encrypted tracker bracelet, and her old combat boots. She touched the suit with shaking fingers. "I buried this life," she murmured. The Admiral stood behind her. "You buried the pain, not the purpose." Facing the past, they debriefed her on the new threat. a rogue intelligence broker named Varro. Varro, the man who leaked her team's coordinates. The man responsible for the massacre she still saw in her nightmares. He had resurfaced. And this time, he carried a stolen data core with classified global intel. Elena, the Admiral said gently, you're the only one who knows his patterns. His mind, his weaknesses. Her chest tightened. I don't know if I can face him. You already did, he replied. And you survived. Tears blurred her vision. Surviving isn't the same as living. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then the Admiral laid a hand on her shoulder. You may have been serving coffee these past months, but you never stopped being who you are. Oh, she inhaled deeply. Strength returned to her spine. Her voice steadied. What do you need me to do? The return of Night Sparrow. The next morning, Elena walked into the same conference room. But this time, not as a ghost. She entered in full tactical gear, boots silent on the floor, a calm storm in her eyes. Every officer in the room turned toward her. Some stood in respect, others watched with awe. The lieutenant who spilled the coffee whispered, "Ma'am." Elena took her place at the head of the table. No longer invisible, no longer broken, a presence that filled the room with electricity. The Admiral nodded to her. Team, meet the real Elena Vale. She lifted her chin. Call sign Night Sparrow, reporting for duty. The room fell into profound silence. A silence not of shock, but of reverence. Because legends don't walk in every day, and when they do, the world stands still. Strong, inspiring closure. Elena Vale's journey reminds us you can run from your past, but you can't outrun your purpose. Sometimes, the world sees something in you that you've forgotten. Sometimes your quiet days are preparing you for the moment you must rise again. And sometimes, the person everyone overlooks turns out to be the one they need most. Even a simple coffee server might be carrying the heart of a warrior,